Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Robert Caldarella, and I'm the VP of Sales and Partnerships for Decision HR. I'd like to welcome you to this webinar with the International Luxury Hotel Association. The title of the webinar is Hotel HR, Innovative Strategies and Benefits to Attract and Retain Top Talent. This webinar will explore HR trends and strategies that luxury hotels can implement to attract the most talented employees, enhance employee well-being, and optimize HR operations. We'll discuss innovative approaches to benefits, performance management, and workforce challenges, with a focus on creating a supportive, growth-oriented environment for both employees and HR teams. The webinar today is brought to you by Decision HR. Decision HR supports hotels throughout the U.S. with an integrated service offering that brings best-in-class solutions for payroll and tax administration, employee benefit programs designed around the unique needs of the hotel industry, HR support services, and workers' compensation and risk management programs. Our large economies of scale combined with our technology allow hotel operators to reduce labor costs by upwards of 20% or more, while bringing employees benefit programs that can elevate the overall employee experience and at the same time reduce cost. Because our solution set is integrated, this means that hotels can spend less time dealing with employee administration and have more time to focus on the guest experience. At this time, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Lisa Kane, Associate Professor at Florida International University.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Robert. It is my honor to moderate this session along with our panelists, Barbie Cooper, HR Director for Decision HR, Brandy Heider, General Manager for Real Estate Hospitality Group, and David Mamina, Director of Talent and Leadership Development for America's Hilton. Thank you for that wonderful introduction again, Robert. And we'd like to thank Decision HR for sponsoring today's webinar. So let's get started. We have several questions today, and I'd like to kick it off with our first question, which is what should luxury hotels implement in their benefit packages to attract and retain top talent in the hospitality industry? Barbie, would you like to start us off?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. So luxury hotels can implement personalized benefit packages to attract and retain top talent by focusing on combination of financial incentives, professional development opportunities, and unique perks tailored for individual needs and preferences, such as professional development, including leadership training, cross-departmental experiences, life-work balances by offering flexible scheduling options, PTO support for employees' personal lives, as well as feedback and engagement, seeking employees' feedback through surveys and focus groups.
Barbie, I love that you focus on the individualized component of this because all of the benefits which employers can offer over, they tend to be very holistic and maybe not necessarily exclusive to luxury. Like I say, based on data which I've received over recent years, professional development is the first thing which every employee is currently seeking following compensation. And that's not exclusive to luxury. So leveraging this offers opportunities for excellent continuing education and job skills training, which we can then tailor to luxury. I think about luxury standards trainings. They're available through multiple reputable partners. I always think of Forbes being the first one that comes to mind that we use and have a great partnership with within Hilton. And at the same time, companies have the opportunity to build signature programs which are unique to them. For example, within Hilton, we've created a luxury leader program, which is targeted at our general managers and hotel managers and focuses specifically on brand activation, luxury service principles, and operating within the luxury market using case studies and comparisons from other competitive brands and luxury retailers. These programs are key. We think about the cost for them. If a team member were to pay out of pocket for those, it would be an exorbitant amount. On top of the team members' compensation, they're receiving those programs for free from our organization. It's something that is just far too difficult to get on their own. But with us, they're then able to receive it just as an additional benefit.
Thank you so much for sharing those incredible examples. I wanted to touch back with you, Barbie, about one thing you said. You mentioned life-work balance, and I've always heard the term as work-life balance. So I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more about why that switch is important.
So that switch really took off in 2020 when individuals had to change and shift their lives. And with the life work balance now being more life than work, you're able to get a person that while they're on site, they're engaged. And when they're off site, they can actually focus on their family, which is the main reason why they're working to be able to provide for the family, maybe go on vacations, maybe pay for their son or daughter's tuition in college. Anything that someone does because of what they do every day, there's always been like a carrot. What's my purpose? What do I do? And that life work balance really helps people really adjust their lives and really feel fulfilled.
I think that's exceptional and a really interesting takeaway from not just the pandemic, but from important benefits that we can offer to our employees and the way that we frame things. Brandy, I was wondering if your organization had any examples in their benefits packages that they use to attract and retain top talent.
Yes, actually, with my company was the first experience that I had with a sort of a multi-tiered approach to employee benefits packages. So, in a way, you can say that it's tailored to the individual that's being hired. Of course, you have your standard medical, dental, vision, but also for those to whom it's important, we have pet insurance that is more attractive to millennials and Gen Zs who don't have children yet, but their pets are their children. So that is very important. Um, Also understanding, flexibility time. While that's not always attainable with line team members, we really try to focus on ensuring the managers are trained to respect time off, not to call during time off time, having a commitment to executing that. And really for this company, there's a lot of different ways you can structure your benefits package, whether it's the pet insurance, whether there's profit sharing at some level, whether there's shares in the company at some level. Those are all on the table to kind of build this, including professional development, to create this very incentivized program that says, hey, I'm actually working for a company that appreciates my contribution because I don't have all of these things in a benefits package that I know I'll never use, but I can appreciate certain aspects of it that I chose to have in my benefits package. So I think that that's compelling.
I agree. I think the personalization aspect is certainly key, and given the different needs across individuals and across generations, that's really pivotal. My second question is, what innovative strategies can HR departments in luxury hospitality adopt to prevent employee burnout while managing high service standards? And Barbie, I don't know if you wanted to kick this one off.
Okay, thank you. With flexible scheduling, I always recommend introducing a shift swapping platform where employees can trade shifts with each other easily, as well as provide mental health support. Employee assistance programs, EAPs is what some people hear about employee assistance program. Wellness programs that also include physical fitness, nutrition, and relaxation techniques. I also encourage employees to take regular breaks and use their vacation time to recharge, re-energize, and come back refreshed.
There's so much that you can say towards just how having those programs available. And again, this kind of goes back to what we said with the previous, keeping things individualized and focused on what the team member needs. The root of all of these come with open communication, understanding what team members are looking for. And this concept is heard in all industries, but it is much more complex to deliver on than some would think. Flexible scheduling and shift swapping, it's so excellent because it offers so much comfort for the team members, and it also opens up routes for team members to connect with their managers and feel comfortable that they're supported by leadership within the organization to say, if I have something which comes up, if I do need to balance that life work balance, I know that I have support and there's an outlet for me to prioritize that. And let's be honest, since the pandemic, Barbie, exactly as you said earlier, mental health is top of mind for everyone. Having resources available which speak to the various forms of assistance which someone could need is essential. Not just we have counselors available via our benefit. Rather, we can provide financial planning resources via this vendor. We can provide grief counseling via this partnership. People are individuals. The programs have to be individualized. Team members need to have those outlets to communicate what they need, and leaders need to be receptive, to the fact that one size does not fit all. We need to listen to team members when they say, "You've connected with everyone, but I need you to connect with me right now."
I think those are incredible takeaways. And I think that an emphasis on mental health and relaxation techniques and personalizing those to individuals is certainly key. Um, Brandy, would you like to chime in on this topic?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So, going back to what David was saying, you see a lot of hotlines in benefit packages, and employees always wonder if their manager is going to know if they called that number and if they're going to be told why they, called into that number. So, really going into and focusing on physical well-being, financial planning is huge these days. I mean, just generationally, we've had, we go in with the millennials who have come up with every single economic disaster in the United States that you could possibly think of that's been prohibitive for them to have successful financial planning. And HR really encouraging those wellness programs that speaks to well beyond your standard medical care.
That's so great. So flexible scheduling, shift swapping, physical and mental health, and financial planning all seem to be top of mind when helping employees to prevent burnout so that they can sustain a long and healthy career in your organization. So in what ways can AI and automation tools be leveraged to streamline HR processes, specifically in the luxury hotel sector? I know AI is a burgeoning topic. I know that there are certain benefits that it can provide, but there are also concerns with it. So, Barbie, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about how your organization utilizes AI to help with the HR process.
With AI powered applicant tracking system called ATS, we do recommend automating resume screening to quickly identify the best candidates based on predefined questions, reducing the time spent on manual reviews. Now, chatbots, for example, for initial screening, they could go ahead and conduct initial candidate screenings, answer common questions, and schedule interviews. Now, again, everything has to be supervised. There has to be a QA. It's not just automated. It also has to have someone review the information and make sure that it's correct. The last thing I would recommend is utilizing historical data to predict which candidates are likely to succeed and stay longer, helping to make more informed hiring decisions.
No, I just want to touch on, Barbie. I love that you mentioned behavior-based interview questions because they're so foundational for ensuring that you're getting a solid snapshot into what a candidate is going to deliver, how they're going to handle an experience once they're there with a guest, whether it be external or internal, a fellow team member as well. As we see in growing industries, AI finding itself in for note taking, finding itself in for creating curriculum. At the end of the day, it comes right down to what you mentioned. It does need to be supervised. We can't eliminate the human component from the AI component.
So if I'm hearing everyone correctly, it sounds like AI is a support tool to help streamline efficiencies and really support the human component of our hospitality employees in the hiring processes. Brandy, how does Real Hospitality Group utilize AI, if at all, in the hiring process?
Yes, and we've gone back and forth on discussing, how effective is AI. It is very effective, but it's also effective in weeding out candidates that should be in the plant pot. And that's the challenging part, is that the oversight and the HR teams have learned as AI became more and more popular that they were counting too much on the AI process. So AI would return to us specific set of resumes, and we wouldn't necessarily be getting the right candidates as soon as that person was in front of us. I mean, what AI taught us was that, yes, it's effective, but it's also effective for just informing us who's good at resume writing, who's good at plugging in those keywords, who's good at taking the job descriptions and then entering them into their resume. Once they're in front of us, they may tell us a very different story. So what we learned is that with that oversight component is something that organizations really must not forget. So even though it saves us time and we have too much going on during the day to overview 200 applications, we somehow have to be able to split that up and even just take a cursory glance at the ones that AI rejected. I myself have been able to hire some incredible talent, and the AI actually kicked them out. So we've been trying to adapt our HR systems to being, hey, let's review these also manually. I think that's very important.
So I'm hearing trust but verify. And I think there is a huge emphasis to David's point on behavior-based questions, right? Because that certainly fleshes out how the interviewees and the candidates will react in real time in those interactions with guests. So we've talked about AI, we've talked about financial incentives. How can we, as luxury hotels, adapt our HR practices to meet the changing expectations given our multi-generational workforce that we currently have? David, I don't know if you want to kick this one off.
Sure. I think that for every employer, luxury hotels or otherwise, acknowledging and staying flexible to the facts that needs and wants change, and the various generations coming into the workforce are going to have different needs and wants. And at the same time, all generations are going to exist in the workforce. So acknowledging them, acknowledging the number that you might have of one generation versus the other is going to be key for foundation. That way we're always staying mindful. Let's again look at our top two: compensation and development. Specific to luxury, earlier I spoke about creating bespoke luxury development programs. That's excellent for a workforce that's seeking further education. But the most important part of this is remaining mindful to the fact that the workforce, as I said, is made up of multiple generations, and we can use their different approaches that they require as a compass for how we should be interacting with each generation. For example, earlier, and we just spoke about AI. Earlier today, I was speaking to a colleague about using AI for note-taking in a class that we're facilitating. I'll be honest, I have no idea how to use AI. I will need instructions for this, and I know that others will too. A different generation who uses it every day will be able to adapt immediately. That being said, I know I'm comfortable using applications, which another generation isn't. HR needs to be flexible to providing for all communications and resources, which keep the comfort levels of their team members in mind.
So it's personalization across the workforce, across the generations, in terms of training and development and every other aspect as well.
Completely.
Brandy, do you have advice for how we can accommodate our multi-generational workforce?
Yes. In my experience, it's really come down to ensuring that the people who are responsible for executing on what HR has guaranteed that the employee has access to, making sure us as general managers, regionals, directors, and entry-level managers, they're responsible for ensuring that they're respecting that person within their multi-generational context, and two, understand what the HR benefits packages really are. People would really be surprised that there's a lot of high-level managers that really don't know what's included or what's been offered to the person that is coming onto the team. So comprehensive training in that regards, not just, hey, look over this manual, we trust you to execute it, but really sitting down and having a refresher course with, this is what we're offering. And also following that up with orientation at the property level, making sure that time is spent with learning the culture. Every department head comes in and explains their role, their team's role, the people in orientation, what their role is within the organization, how important that is, and why. and not really shirking back on that and saying, well, we'll train you some other time, that's where we lose our culture as soon as we lose that onboarding process. So that's my I think my supplement to property level management, following through on what HR is offering.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, making them comfortable through compensation, development, and onboarding processes that aren't just paying lip service, but really are highlighting what the organization offers and what the culture feels like within that organization, regardless of the generation in which the employee falls. So to build off of that, what are some unique and innovative employee benefits that luxury hotels can offer to stand out in this very competitive hospitality job market? David?
Sure. Earlier, I spoke about the training and development piece specific to luxury trainers, specific to any kinds of luxury topics, service skills, job skills, etc. But let's get creative with this as well. We have an entire industry of luxury around the globe. So exposure to similar competitors, whether it's through tours, whether it's through discounts, is so valuable. I once worked for a hotel who created a partnership with a local luxury clothing retailer and brought all of their managers there so that each manager could receive a discount on a purchase for one suit. And it was just something which helped us to distinguish ourselves and make us feel comfortable shopping in that space and operating in that space. I'm purposely wearing the tie today that I purchased at that same event. And it's just one which helped me to understand this is what our guest is looking at. And so I should be looking at it as well. And then the last piece are stretch projects. Team members want to know that they're shaping the luxury hospitality industry. When I write curriculum for our luxury hotels, I give a piece of that project to our training and quality leaders within our properties because they're subject matter experts. They're face to face with our team members and guests. And so their experience is so valuable. And then what we use within our Americas portfolio, they can look at those courses, those curriculums, and how they materialize at the properties and say, oh, that philosophy, I wrote that. That in and of itself is a major benefit, which lasts for years.
I love that. I think that demonstrates how employees are heard and seen within the organization as well as developed. And I think a lot of people take that with them and take pride in an organization that gives back to them and recognizes them, especially through their own actions. I think that's been so I think all of these build into my next question, which is how can HR departments in luxury hospitality use data-driven decision-making to create more personalized employee experiences? We often focus on customers, but really what can we do for our employees through decision-making tools to really help them?
Now, we asked the question, what data are you looking at? And what data matters to your team members so they know that they have a voice in that. As a human resources professional, I will always immediately go to employee satisfaction surveys. And looking at those surveys, though, the structure of them is equally as important as the responses because it can't just be of 50 questions, 60 questions, which are exhausting for the team member once they're through it. They need to know and have confidence that question 3, I'm making it up, goes over into a subcategory. That category might be hotel management. It might be training and development. It might be compensation and benefits, which then for us as HR professionals, we can look at that data and we can realize we have exposure, we have an opportunity in one subcategory, and that's where we need to build our action plans off of. That's foundational, but the structure of it should be regularly reviewed, regularly internally reviewed and discussed, so that then we're being our own worst critics around it and asking, how can we constantly get better? Now let's multiply that by every other kind of data that they might look at. Guest service data, guest feedback, results from mystery shops, results from competitive sets, where you might sit even within your local market is extremely important. HR needs to have a seat at that table. It can't be exclusive to just one division because every road leads into human resources. And at the end of the day, since we're in the people business, our people are going to impact every sub-department.
I think that's so important to take away the starting at the granular level, looking at the actual questions and making sure they're asking what you actually want them to be asking, and getting the answers that you think you're getting, rather than just what sort of a generic survey might ask. Barbie, did you want to add to this conversation?
Yes, thank you. Now, we also try to recommend our clients to use predictive analytics for turnover. So what we inform them is to look at, why are your employees leaving the company? Why are they leaving the organization? Use that to address concerns, to also offer personalized retention incentives and improve overall employee satisfaction. Anytime someone leaves a company, it's not just the knowledge that leaves, but it also makes others have to pick up some of their work and their workload. So it's always good to find out why. Why is something happening, the root cause, and then put an action plan together to prevent that from happening in the future.
That's really helpful as well. Brandy, did you want to contribute to this?
Yes, in addition to everything that's been said, which are very powerful components, I also like what I call power and policy making. And this goes directly to the employees, the team members, and the managers are engaging them in new SOP developments, and they're involving them in the process. How do you do this way? What's the best practice for that? And people get to come together and actually involve themselves in policy making. Not only do I feel that and the feedback that I've gotten is that they feel more in control of their career. They feel more incentivized to take advantage of development programs. They're more comfortable in their work environment. They feel more open to productively discuss things with colleagues and managers. So I believe power and policy making, that ties in so completely with employee satisfaction.
I think those are phenomenal takeaways. So making sure that the questions you're asking are pointed and correct to give you those data points so that you can use them not just to help with the current staff, but also to predict turnover as well as retention and help inform policy and power in the organization. So Brandy, I'm going to ask you, what strategies can be implemented to empower the workforce and improve retention rates in the luxury hotel industry?
There's so many ways in which we could do this. So the question is, do we do it effectively? And so again, I want to, go back to what David was pointing out in regards to employee satisfaction, employee engagement, employee feedback, and what is HR doing to ensure that the managers are taking that feedback and really digesting it and adjusting their training style or their approaches to line team members. And also that comes with refresher courses with the teams. It comes with perhaps even having an app where the team can discuss things that matter in real time. If there's an issue with the kitchen that affects the issue in the sales department, that in real time people can have those conversations together and come up with solutions rather than after the fact being, as they say, the armchair quarterback and not being productive in that time. So power and policy making, real-time engagement, employee satisfaction, and constant refresher courses, both for management and line team members.
I think those are all fantastic takeaways. David or Barbie, would either of you like to add to this conversation?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Empowerment is so key for our team members, and it's something which exists in, I should say every one of our service philosophies, a major part of our team member promise as well. For us, what we really want our team members to know is that they have a voice within the organization and that they have the expertise in order to handle any kind of situation, again, whether it be external or internal, guest or team member to team member. And so ensuring that that's communicated amongst the entirety of the team member journey and that it never stops being communicated is very key. I think about a general manager that we have within our luxury portfolio in the United States who on an annual basis has every single team member within his hotel attend an empowerment training that is facilitated by him. So they're hearing it directly from him. and that they know that he has their back, and that they have his support really in any decision that they're going to make. It gives them so much ownership. It goes back to what I said earlier, that team members want to know that they're shaping our luxury industry. So when they look at their hotel, then they can say the guests are returning because of me, because I created a situation for those guests.
That's incredible. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's employee satisfaction through supervisory support and ownership, which are all facilitated through empowerment in the organization. And I think that's really powerful for all of us to take away, regardless of the segment. How can luxury hotels create onboarding processes that effectively immerse new hires in the brand culture while optimizing HR operations? We've talked about current employees, we talked about preventing turnover, but when we're bringing people in, how can we really create an onboarding process that's effective? Randy?
So I think works very well in a lot of luxury settings is after the onboarding process. So let's say we dedicate a week to it, or however it may be. After that onboarding process, we will take either individuals, depending on how large the onboarding team is, or we'll take new hires who've already started, but we'll have them also work for a day with someone that's capable of bringing them through the steps. And we'll take them through that department to see what they do every single day. And then they can directly see how, let's say I'm a front desk agent, I can directly see how my promises or my actions affect a person's experience with their sales coordinator or with their server at their table or F&B in general. So I think that has so much power in ensuring that employees feel comfortable in their environment and they feel more incentivized to learn more, and they care more about how their actions affect other departments. And that all comes full circle when you're looking at employee retention, when you're looking at engagement, people coming to work and genuinely wanting it to make it a great day. While that sounds so cliche in a post-COVID environment, we have the power to get back to that kind of mentality and looping it all around and saying, yes, guest satisfaction, empowerment, development, learning programs, ensuring that people have the right amount of time off, they have benefit packages that mean something to them. I would think shadowing people in other departments helps really, really well with the overall impression that employees have of a company and their dedication to their learning.
That immersive piece is so critical. And I think that we never stop immersing our team members in the culture of the hotel unless we neglect to immerse them in the culture of the hotel and even the grander organization. I think about for our luxury properties, we have a standard when we look at our most successful luxury hotels within the Americas. They're the properties where the team member goes into orientation before they actually enter into their own department, because that is the opportunity for us to set the standard and say, you as the team member, you are the greatest part of our hotel. And so we want to show you what we want you to give to the guests. And at the same time, we can equip them with the tools that will make them comfortable to do the job. We'll also be able to equip them with the benefits, Brandy, like you were saying, that will make them comfortable to continue working with us. I think about those tools and really what we expect. Like as an example, we look for our team members to be representatives of our culture. We provide during initial onboarding training like a pocket card. And this pocket card has our brand promise. It has our brand pillars on it. It has our service standards on it for whichever brand they might be working in, Waldorf Astoria or Conrad. And when we give them that pocket card, we say, okay, look, these are your foundations, but tell me the story that you're creating behind whatever it might be, service standard number 3. And I don't want it to be a story that I can find on the website. I want it to be a story that you looked at this service standard, you translated it into something in your mind, and you said, this is how it comes to life. Now take that storytelling piece and put it into every single aspect of your job. Tell us a story for every aspect. It gives the team members a little bit of experience when it comes to communicating. And again, we go back to what we were speaking about earlier, so much ownership, so much fulfillment for them.
In addition, I do think guest experience workshops, creating a memorable guest experience for the new hire that just started, for them to understand what we want to offer our guests. Also, reinforcing the importance of personalized services and attention to detail. I know we've talked a lot about onboarding, but I also believe in pre-boarding engagements as well. We've sometimes have individuals that will have their CEOs send a letter or a message before they start, like the Friday before the person starts, and says, "Thank you for joining our team. We look forward to seeing you on Monday." And I really do think that that essential piece is just an extra layer of why they chose to come work for that company.
I think those are all such powerful pieces. We've talked a lot about, empowerment and satisfaction, employee satisfaction. We've talked about retention. We've talked about the hiring processes. My last question is really once they're on the property, we've talked a little bit about using technology previously for hiring processes and retention and satisfaction, but how can HR departments in luxury hotels balance the need for technology integration with maintaining the human touch that's essential to luxury hospitality? Brandy?
Yes, thank you. So it's always challenging with technology, right? Especially in a multi-generational workforce. You have some that just never use it and eager to learn, and others that just don't want to learn because it's not been how they've grown up. And other people that only use AI and they don't understand the human touch whatsoever. And so I think that HR really in the culture that they're passing on to new hires, but also people that have been with the company for a long time, managers, directors that need reminding that processes over processes over processes that are all automated are not necessarily making a better experience for the guests and the employees in the hospitality sector. So oftentimes employees are mandated to use the text messaging systems to guests to ask, do you need anything? Rather than picking up the phone and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is everything satisfactory in your room? Doing that 5 to 10 minutes after they've checked in. And there really always seems to be a balance because we can chat GPT our way out of pretty much anything these days. But hospitality is one of those industries where the human touch is and likely will always remain very, very critical. There's only so much that AI can do or we would want them to do in that matter.
Yeah, I also do believe streamlining processes to allow the human guest interaction. That is so important. A lot of people need to, like you said earlier, Brandy, hear the voice, not just the text. It becomes very short and to the point. Using technology to streamline administrative tasks, just very simple administrative tasks, will allow the staff to give that white glove feeling. And it will balance it with technical training, with continuous development. That way, the soft skills like empathy, communication, and problem solving is something that the individual can focus on. And I really do feel that that's the high standard that everybody expects when they go stay at a hotel or resort. They want to feel that they're being taken care of and they're being heard and that they're wanted to be at that resort or that hotel.
You mentioned so much about how the team members can use the technology. And I think there's a foundation which needs to come with how we introduce technology, which is the basis of how can the team member use the technology, not how is the technology using the team member. And we need to constantly be reminding our team members, this is actually a really exceptional opportunity to be creative. And it's something which allows you to showcase your skills in a manner which makes your job easier. Brandy mentioned text messaging services earlier. I immediately thought of a hotel that utilized a mass text messaging service for a group that they had in-house in order to broadcast for them that they had created 2 specialty cocktails in their bar. That right there shows intentional service on behalf of the entire property. Tie a team member's name to them, that gives that even more ownership. But regardless, as soon as the group descended on that bar, And the team members there got to showcase what they created that cost them no money, all of 30 seconds to send a text message, and for them allows them more face-to-face and that human touch piece that's irreplaceable by technology. And it shows that the team members could leverage a tool that they had in order to actually increase the potential for them to get in front of the guest and begin interacting.
Well, I think this has been incredibly enriching and informative. I think there are so many ways to utilize technology to highlight our team members, to support them, to enhance their jobs, to allow for greater human interaction and the personalized touch that we have come to expect from luxury hospitality. Barbie, Brandy, David, thank you so much for your informative discussion and insights surrounding innovative strategies and benefits to attract and retain top talent in luxury hospitality. To close, we'd like to thank you all for joining the International Luxury Hotel Association's webinar series and are grateful to Decision HR for making today's webinar possible. If you found the webinar to be of value, please do share the recording. Recordings of past webinars can be found on the ILHA's website, theilha.com, under events. Thank you.